I want to switch the subject slightly.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Akira.
Yeah.
How did you come by Akira? Akira's training, like everything about like a guide dog. I mean, there's a subject, I see people with guide dogs occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
The training, the financial, everything.
Okay. So looking for a guide dog school is a lot like looking for a university. You're allowed to go to the States or Canada. You can do your own research on the schools and find out what school you would like to be a part of, because each school offers a little bit different type of training of their guide dogs,
Okay.
sometimes different types of guide dogs.
How many, okay, so sorry for interrupting. How many schools were you looking at?
Oh my gosh. I think I looked at about 5 different schools.
Okay.
One in the States and so maybe 4, 3 in Canada.
Okay.
And they're all good. And there's nothing bad about any
So
of the
what?
schools.
So who says, okay, Leslie, it's time for you to get a guide dog? Who says that?
Oh, I made that choice myself.
You make the decision.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I knew I qualified for one.
Okay.
So you do have to qualify, which means, again, being legally blind. There's one little cat. So once you've researched what school you might like to go to, then you apply to that school. That school still has to approve me.
Mm-hmm.
So they come to my house, they do a home visit. I've got a plethora of paperwork, my doctors, my optometrist.
You have to pass.
Exactly, I have to pass. They have to know that I can work with a guide dog.
Yes.
They have to know that I'm out a lot. So if you're shut in and you're not going to be able to walk your dog, you might not pass to get a dog, because that dog
makes
has
sense.
to stay healthy too.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and there's a lot of money invested into these dogs to get them to the level of training that they have. So they want to know that they're being worked. Not only that, these dogs love to work because it's getting out, they're doing things, they're getting rewarded.
Akira's very social.
Love. He's very
You just met my grand dog. Oh, here comes my grand dog now.
He heard you say dogs. So once you pass all that, then there is approximately a 1-year wait for your dog. So the school I went to is called Guide Dogs for the Blind. Their main area is out of California, and I went to their Oregon campus. So I chose a school out of the States, and it was only because I fell in love with the school, and I loved their training practices. They breed and raise their own guide dogs.
Okay.
Most of them are labs, retrievers, or mixes of the two. And so how it works is when they're 8 weeks old, they go out to a puppy raiser family. And Akira's puppy raiser family was in Montana. So they're taken to that family. They raise them for 12 months. And in that 12 months, they take them everywhere. So you've seen the little puppies with the little vest on saying guide dog in training. So they're allowed to go to most places, not everywhere, but most places. And they teach them the social side of being a guide dog. They get them used to people and sounds and trains and planes, and they can go everywhere with them and into schools and that sort of stuff. If they pass that, when they're 14 months old, then they come back to the school and they start their harness training.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months, depending on the dog, to do everything that they need to do in harness. And I find it fascinating because I have no idea how they train them, really. Like, you don't really see that. But they teach them certain things. These dogs have to make choices for us.
Yes.
How do you train a dog to make a choice for you? The right choice.
The right choice.
Because we're completely trusting them. So as they're walking down the street, something comes up and there's a Y in the road.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it joins up on the other side. But they make the choice to go left or right based on what they feel will be the safest route for me. So I find it fascinating that they can teach them how to make these good choices for us, as still as obeying our commands and us telling them where to go and where we need to be. They know quite a few English words, of course, in their commands.
Animals are very good at communicating, I find, anyway.
They are. And he's...
Like, feed me.
Yes. He lets me know when he needs stuff, and I can tell now how it is, each thing it is, what he's trying to tell me. And they're just, well, as you can see here, once they're in harness, it's like having 2 jobs for these dogs. When they're out of harness, at home,
They're off duty.
Off duty. He is a puppy, he'll play, he'll steal my slippers. Like, he does all the things that, he probably shouldn't do, but a puppy would. And then once the harness goes on, he becomes serious and he knows he's working.
So because you're legally blind, then the funding is taken care of by.
Yes, so he comes to me at no cost.
Okay.
My only
That's-
my
I was-
only cost is the food and
This would be an expensive project, the train.
it costs anywhere, well, to sponsor a dog is $25,000, but that's still not the full cost. So companies that wish to, or people that wish to sponsor a dog, they have it at the $25,000 mark, but it's now anywhere, you'll hear anywhere from 40,000 or so to actually have a dog ready to
Have
go
you,
out.
let's say, have you ever been refused admittance to a store or with
Not refuse. I've been very fortunate. Peterborough is, first of all, a wonderful community, and people are very knowledgeable in Peterborough about guide dogs, and they've seen enough around, I believe, and they ask questions, which is great. I love it when people ask me questions because then I can let them know. You know, sometimes they'll ask me questions about, you know, can I touch your dog? And I'll say, no, I'm sorry, he's working. But at least they asked. I'm okay with that. Most of us are, to be honest with you. We don't mind those questions. But no, the only thing I've had is I've walked into some restaurants outside of Peterborough
Okay,
and they've said, I'm sorry, we don't allow pets in our restaurant.
he's not a pet.
And I'll say, oh, that's okay. He's not a pet. He's a service dog. And I always keep my ID usually in my pocket if I'm going into a place like that. And I pull out my ID and I show it to him. And our ID is, it looks like a little driver's license. It's from the Governor General of Canada.
Okay.
And has our picture on it and our registration numbers. So that's our ID. And that tells them, that is proper ID. That tells them that he has been properly trained in a school and will behave himself. And if he doesn't behave himself, it's my responsibility to take him out. And we're taught that at school. Like, they're trained to behave, and if they don't, we leave. And that's only proper for everybody else, right? You know.
It's like kids that act up.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Exactly.
Exactly what I was thinking.
And I'll say this too, because a lot of businesses don't know this, but they do have the right to ask if it's a properly trained dog. And I wish more businesses would, because there are a lot of fake service dogs out there.
Oh, interesting point. I've never even
Yeah.
thought of that.
And you can go online for $100 and buy a vest and a fake ID for your own pet and expect to take your pet everywhere. And those pets have not been trained. So these dogs are trained to never bother another dog, to never bother or be upset with children or a loud noise or to bark. You haven't heard him bark yet.
No, I have never heard him bark.
They're trained to lie down at my feet when we're
Excuse me.
sitting somewhere
Excuse
and
me.
they stay
Hear
there.
that flap?
Oh, yeah. So if you're somewhere and somebody has a service dog and they're misbehaving, they're going after food under the table, they're trying to reach the table next door at a restaurant, they're bothering the people.
It's not likely a service dog.
It's not likely a properly trained service dog. Now, don't get me wrong, sometimes our dogs have bad days.
Yeah,
And-
I have bad days.
Yeah, and if they have a bad day, then I will remove myself from that situation and him. Because it's not fair for him. If he's not feeling well, I'm probably not going to go out.
Yeah.
So would like to think that I'm a responsible handler and will take care. That's taking care of your own dog. But if it is a fake service dog, the owner of the place that you're at, restaurant or business, can go up and say,
I'd like to see some ID.
yeah, can I see your ID for your service dog? You can be very nice about it. And if they don't have ID, proper ID, then, just saying, well, he's my service dog, it really isn't sufficient. And they can be asked to leave. And if any dog, even my service dog, is misbehaving, they can ask me to leave. And that's only fair. I think that's only fair. But a lot of people don't know. Well, a lot of people don't know they can ask the question because they're afraid to insult us, right? They're
True.
afraid to, they don't want to upset the cart. But there are so many fake service dogs out there now that I really wish people would ask a little
I
bit
had no
more.
idea.
Yeah.
Never even, you just assumed.
That is a
That's-
whole
there's a-
other topic.
there's a
we
dog
could talk about.
That's one- It's a service dog. That's the end of that story.
Yeah.
But it's not. Okay.
Yeah, well, according to the AODA, the Accessibility of Ontario Disability Act, there's a whole feature on there about how to get a proper service dog, or what qualifies a person to get a service dog, I guess is more. So now they have it that a doctor's note that your doctor could give you a note that
Mhm.
says you qualify for a service dog.
Okay.
But what the note doesn't say is you qualify for a properly trained service dog. So people have taken the other way. Oh, my doctor gave me a note. That's all the proof I need. I can make my dog a service dog.
Take the shortcut.
They took the shortcut. And there's no law right now that says they can't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's really unfortunate because for the, you know, when you're investing $40,000 to get a dog properly trained, and there's been a lot of fight about them, you know, people refusing an actual service dog, thinking that they're going to misbehave because 2 days ago a dog was in and really did misbehave, but that dog wasn't a properly trained
Wasn't
service
probably, but
dog.
everybody just
My
assumes.
dog is.
Everybody assumes, yeah. I know.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. Yeah. Just what's
Yeah.
it?
When you're getting the dog, do you like spend time with them before you get them, or
Yeah,
do you
so-
get assigned, or do you get to choose, or?
We don't choose our dog. They actually match the dog up to us.
Oh, that's interesting.
So after talking to us and knowing what type of a dog we need or what we want to do with our own daily lives, like how many times I'm out and where I need to go, and if I lived in Toronto, I'd have to make sure I had a dog that was good on subways, for example, and things like in Peterborough, I didn't have to make sure Akira was good on subways, even though he's been on them. I'm not on them at all, so that wasn't a key thing for me. So they match us up, and then we go to the school, and at our school we're 2 weeks at the school. So I went to Oregon for 2 weeks, totally immersed right away with Akira, and we started our training right away. So it's intense. Oh my gosh, it's intense
So
training.
we're not just
but it's
training,
really good.
not just training the dog, we're training.
No, we're training me at that point. He's completely trained. So now they're training me how to be a handler and getting the two of us working together. And actually for the first week, we're not allowed to tell family or friends, we're not allowed to email in or
Okay.
tell them at all anything about our dog, because it's possible that we don't match. The dog doesn't want to listen to us, or I just don't get along with the dog, whatever. We might, and they will switch us. They'll bring another dog in for us and give us a chance to try that. So,
Okay.
yeah, so they always tell us the first week, don't say anything, just in case. Yeah.
And how old are the dogs when you actually get them?
Anywhere, usually the youngest is about 18 months, so anywhere from 18 to 22 months.
And Akira's how old now?
He's now 2.5.
2.5.
He was actually 18 months when I got him.
Okay.
He was an early graduate, but he did really well.
Okay.
Yeah. So he was very much a puppy when we came home.
He's still a puppy from looks of him.
He's still a puppy, yeah. But he's, even in 1 year, it's amazing how much calmer he is. Now that we're here and we're settled and we've worked together for
Settled.
a year.
He knows, yeah, he's a routine now.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
got a
there's a
good
routine.
routine.
And you can expect to keep Akira indefinitely, like just.
No, he would need to be retired. Every school's a little different, but my school, they retire them by his age of 10.
Okay.
So I'll have him for roughly 8 years. And there's a choice. So if I wanted to get another guide dog,
Mm-hmm.
it's not wise to keep Akira and have a new guide dog. It's hard on Akira because he'll want to keep
He'll want to
working.
keep on doing his thing.
Yeah, and leaving him at home and going out with another dog wouldn't be fair. So if I wanted to get another guide dog, then I can give him to a family member or a close friend who I trust would take care of him. Or if there's nobody that I know that could take care of him, there's a list of families through the school that will take in retired pets. And if I do not want to get another guide dog, let's say I'm just going to go back to using my cane, then I can keep him myself for his retirement as a pet.
As a pet.
Yes,
not
and
as a-
they actually will take away the harness.
Okay.
Yeah, the harness always belongs to the school. So they'll take away the harness to ensure that I'm not going to work him. And the reason is they want their last 4 or 5 years to be a good, healthy retirement and let them enjoy it. You know, they've been working hard
They
for
worked all their lives.
10 years, so give them a good, healthy retirement. And I'm fine with that. I can't imagine the day I have to give them up, but I'm fine with it.
Yes, that's going to be, yeah.
Yeah, it'll be tough. I'm not even going to think about it.
No, it's a ways off. Let's skip
yeah,
that for now.
yeah, that sounds good.
So the dog is capable of replacing all the functionality of the cane, though. So
Absolutely, even more so. He does more than what a cane does. So a cane can tell me what's right in front of me.
Yes.
He tells me what's up ahead and avoids what's coming at me, which is what I needed, because that's what I don't have is distance. So we'll come up to a corner. He tells me that whether the curb is going up or going down, or a set of stairs, whether it's up or it's down. I still have to know where I'm going. Like, he's not a GPS.
Yes.
I can't say, Akira, let's go to the bank, and off we go. It doesn't quite work that way. I have to know I have to go down this street, turn right, go down that street, turn left at the corner. So he'll take me from A to B, so along the street to the next corner. At that corner, I need to tell him left or right or forward. And then we go, and then I have to know when it's safe to cross the street, when I think it's safe. But then Akira will do, my school calls it disobedient obedience. So if I tell him to go forward across the street because I think it's safe to go,
Okay.
and all of a sudden something comes up that's gonna, a car comes around the corner or something like that, he'll stop. He'll disobey my command. He'll stop me, either push me back or pull me fast forward if the car or whatever's coming behind us to get me out of the way. So if he stops me and makes me wait, that car goes by, then I'll give him a second command. Hop up is the command with a question mark. And that tells him go if it's safe. So he can make the choice to go if it's safe.
So when you say he tells you, like is that in terms of like the angle of his the device? The harness?
Of him, yeah. So the guide dogs are always on our left side. I've
Okay.
not actually seen one on the right. They can be made to travel on your right if it is something you need. Otherwise, they're trained on the left. So he curls or angles himself in front of my left leg, and that stops me. As soon as my leg hits him, that stops me. So I know something's there. It could be a big item. It could be a table. He comes up to the table. Let's say he can't get around. He'll stop and he'll kind of angle and point at the table. So I'll reach out and say, "Oh, there's a table there. Let's find our way around," and we'll start finding our way around things. But yeah, if he just curls in front and stops me right away, then we know not to move. And it's like at a curb, we know not to step off the curb until he moves first. Because if he moves first, then it's safe. If I move ahead of him, it kind of defeats the purpose of
Yes,
him
yeah.
stopping me, right?
So when you say you're going to the curb and he stops, like is he able to read the sort of like the hand or the little guy walking, or is it just
No, he stops at every corner regardless.
right?
And waits for me to tell him if it's safe to go. So if you can't see the sign, you've got to listen to the traffic.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
And
there's
determine.
still a risk here in the sense that like if it is like a red light or something and you can't tell the difference, and okay, I don't hear any traffic.
I think it's safe to go, so
Yeah.
I'll say Akira forward, and if it's safe, and even if it looks like I'm jaywalking but there's no cars around, it's still safe, he'll go.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he doesn't follow the light. They don't know that.
They don't know.
No, they don't know that. So, but hopefully, we're moving with the traffic and we're able to go with traffic.
Is there more sounds at the crosswalks now? More beeps? And Peterborough, that's not something I really noticed, but I didn't know if that was growing more.
It is, yeah. So now when they put in a new intersection, they are putting
Yes,
in
I
the
know.
audible.
That has to be a lot of help. Just
It tells you when
Yeah.
it's safe to go. You can totally relax, yes. So it'll either, the beeping sound you hear when you approach the corner isn't the beeping sound that says to go or to not go. It's just telling you that there's an
Oh, it's
audible
time,
button
yeah.
here. No, there's an
Oh.
audible button here.
Oh.
So you find the button, you press it, and you have to hold it down for 3 seconds. And then it'll start talking to you. It'll say, wait. You wait to cross George Street. Wait. And then when it's safe to go, it changes, goes beep, 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 beep. And says it's safe to cross George Street.
Okay.
And then it does the countdown. A lot of them have that now. And if they don't have the talking, it changes the beeping.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's both. Yeah. They're great. I wish every intersection had them.
It's coming.
It's coming, yeah. They just put a new one in down on George Street across from No Frills.
Oh, right.
Oh, yes,
where the
okay.
meeting
Yeah,
is,
so that's a new intersection, and they put great curb cuts in the sidewalk, and they've got the audible sounds, and so they've done that corner like one of the newer looking corners. It's good.
Go on. My Flav. So,
It's getting his 2 cents in.
yeah, no kidding.